The Philadelphia Phillies have a problem, and that problem continued to linger this past few days at Citi Field as the Phillies got swept out by the division rival Mets. We're going to get into all of that today on the newest episode of Phillies Digest. But before we do that, I do want to remind you guys, if you have not subscribed to the channel already, to please do so. Just 35% of our viewers that are watching our videos have subscribed so far. We want to get that number up. We want to get the top number down, the bottom number up. Myself, Sean Bernardo, working really hard here on Phillies Digest, and I guarantee you that this is the best place for all things Phillies on YouTube. The Phillies have a problem, and right now their problem is their lineup. They continue to look lifeless. They continue to look like they don't want to be there, and they continue to look like an incompetent baseball team right now. Can things change? Yes. Is it April 23rd? Yes. Is the bullpen also an issue? Yes. Is the hitting coach also probably an issue? Yes. Is there an argument for the manager to possibly be an issue? I don't agree with it, but yes. But right now, I am the most concerned about the Phillies lineup. The Phillies came into this season after getting pantsed by their division rival last year in the NLDS, and they come into a season and the same problems continue to linger, and you go into Citi Field and you just get manhandled. You get manhandled by the Mets, and it was just absolutely ugly. They lost the series finale today in extra innings for the Mets to complete the sweep. 1 for 5 for Trey, 1 for 5 for Harper, 0 for 4 from Schwarber, 1 for 4 from Castellanos, 0 for 4 from JT Realmuto. A 3-hit day for Alec Boehm, a multi-hit game for Edmundo Sosa, and a hit from Wilson, Kepler, Rojas. It's just not going well for the Phillies right now. It is obvious, and they're starting to crumble a little bit on April 23rd. And that can get a little concerning. This is a team that once again came into this season and decided to run it back and decided for their only acquisition for the lineup to be Max Kepler. And while Kepler has been, I would say, more good than bad, he's not a needle mover. And what this offense needs right now is for somebody to move the needle. Phillies 1 through 5 hitters went 9 for 61 in the Mets series. This team continues to go to Citi Field and just look like they don't belong in the same league as the Mets. They have obvious runners in scoring position problems. They have obvious clutch hit problems. And yes, the bullpen is an issue. I get it. Everybody hates Jordan Romano. There's like 2 relief pitchers that are pitching well right now, Jose Alvarado and Matt Strum. Those are the only 2 guys in the bullpen that are doing their job night in and night out, just about. But the Phillies have a problem, and it is the lineup right now. They need a spark, and it's bad that they need a spark on April 23rd after getting manhandled by the Mets in the postseason last year and coming into this season, and you'd think they would go into Citi Field and they would look like a different team, and they just don't. They almost don't look like they want to be there. And Bryce Harper spoke to reporters after the game today, and he said, we're not playing good baseball. We've got to figure it out sooner rather than later. We've got to flush this series. We've got to play better baseball. We are not doing our job. Timely hitting, we've got to do better in those situations. We are not getting it done. We need to. And yes, that is obvious. They are not getting it done. Once again, this box score is ugly. It is an ugly, ugly box score. And yes, they had 11 hits. But how many of them truly mattered? When were they big ones? Other than the Castellanos one in the 10th? There was a few big hits today. But other than that, nothing really. It's they continue to struggle and bad at bats and just everything mixed in. And I'm getting to the point right now where I have never been in huge belief of firing a coach this early. But I think right now the Phillies need to fire Kevin Long. I just think they need a shakeup. I think something has to change. How much does Kevin Long do? I don't know. I don't know how much a hitting coach really, really matters to a baseball team. He's done good here. But the Phillies continue to go out day after day with the same old Kevin Long way of hunt fastballs and not know what to do with anything else. And it's starting to catch up to them. Bryce Harper is seeing the most off-speed pitches that he has through a 23-game stretch in his entire career. Pitchers they're just simply not throwing fastballs at Bryce Harper anymore, because when Bryce Harper gets fastballs, he hits them, and he hits them far. He's not able to make huge contributions because he's not getting good pitches to see right now, but that's also not really because of the protection behind him. That's just because pitchers are kind of not figuring Bryce out, but they're starting to realize there's no point to throw a fastball to him. And this team, they just look like they don't know what to do when times get tough. The offense comes out, and they look lost. They look unhinged. They look like rattled. They look rattled going into Citi Field. I think they're 3-3 for the last 13, something like that. They have a really bad record over the last few years at Citi Field specifically. And this series was just the most frustrating of them all, because you'd think they'd go in after last year and after a rough series finale against the Marlins on Sunday, and you think they'd try to play some competitive baseball. And while, 2 games ended on 1-run games, this series didn't feel competitive that much. It felt like the Mets are in one stratosphere and the Phillies are in the other. It's just extremely, extremely frustrating to watch. I want to know what your guys' thoughts are down in the comments on this. But right now, I think the best, and maybe not the best, but I just think something needs to change. I think something needs to change, because if you're not going to change it in the offseason and you're going to come into a new season and continue to do the same things, something's going to have to bite eventually, whether that's the hitting coach, whether that's the manager farther down the line, whether that's people in this lineup. I'm not sitting here calling for Rob Thomson's head. It's April 23rd. I don't think you fire a manager a month into a season. But I think there's nothing wrong with firing a hitting coach after 2.5 years of failures at the plate when they really matter. Something has to change. Something has to change. Something has to change, because it's just frustrating. It's frustrating to sit here and watch. It's frustrating to just even think about. The Phillies 1-5 hitters, once again, they went 9 for 61 with a 147 batting average during the Mets series. They had about 2 clutch hits from those 1-5 hitters the entire series. A rough series for Schwarber, another brutal series for Bryce Harper at Citi Field. He hasn't looked great at Citi Field in a while, and Mets pitching is starting to catch up to him at Citi Field again. This team just has an issue. They have an issue, and it's starting to get extremely frustrating, and it's obviously catching up to them. You can see it on their faces. You can see it's just frustrating as heck for them, and something's going to have to change. This offense, something's going to have to bite eventually, because something needs to be figured out. I can't sit here and say improve the chase, because their chases are actually kind of down. They're just going up there and they're putting together bad at bats. They're hacking at the first pitch. They're just flat out missing pitches that are right down the middle. It's really bad. Obviously, they have a chance to go into Chicago this weekend and win a series. But unfortunately for them, the Cubs are really hot right now. So they're going to have to take a hell of a game up to Chicago to beat the Cubs. And then they obviously return home off day this coming Monday for the Nationals. But what are your thoughts right now on the Phillies offense? I know Sean Bernard touched on kind of everything last night, and I want to sit here and I want to freak out, but it's just kind of exhausting. I'm not in the freak out stage. I'm in just the exhausted stage. Because you'd think after getting pantsed by your division rival in the NLDS last year, you'd think they'd show up and they'd look like they'd have a little bit of fight in them. And they just flat out didn't. So I want to hear your thoughts if you've made it this far in the video. Thank you for getting this far, and thank you for watching once again. If you have not subscribed already to the channel, please do so. Just 35% of our viewers are subscribed. Hit that subscribe button. Hit the little bell right next to the subscribe button, and you will be notified every time myself and Sean Bernard are uploading on Phillies Digest, the best Phillies YouTube channel on Phillies. For Phillies Digest, my name is Arcaini, and I will see you guys next time.